3, and I'm presenting on Christian Louboutin v. Yves Saint Laurent, two fashion industries, corporations, fashion houses centered on trademark infringement. So the overview of today, I'm going to go through the players, who's involved, the background of how it came to Court of Appeals, the ruling, and then the implications, and how it has been used. So first off, our players. Our plaintiff is Christian Louboutin, and our defendant is Yves Saint Laurent, both French designers, very famous for what they did, and again, this is centered on trademark infringement. And it's infringement of these two shoes are at the heart of what a lot of fashion houses are now thankful for. The red liqueur sole. On the left, you see Christian Louboutin's shoe, and this red sole is very meaningful. He built a brand, a reputation centered on this red liqueur sole, and it was the outsole, and so it was different, it was unique, and because of that, it had meaning and value to its customers. It became something that was known for its brand value and its price, and so it had significant impact. Then, Yves Saint Laurent came out and produced a line of solely red shoes, as you can see on the right side of the screen. So it still has the red sole, and all of his shoes were centered on this red for his collection. So because of that, Louboutin sues Yves Saint Laurent for trademark infringement. And the District Court of Southern New York rules in favor of YSL, saying that the one color is not enough to trademark, that you can't trademark color. Anyone can use color. Additionally, the color is functional and therefore is not permissible for trademark. So how can a color be anything more than the mere function of its look? It can't be something that's unique to a certain brand. And so Louboutin appeals to the Second Court of Appeals because he thought that it was unfair that Yves Saint Laurent was using his red in his collection. And for background information, additionally, Louboutin had trademarked that the red lacquered outsole in contrast with the shoe. So this has been trademarked, and then Yves Saint Laurent go ahead and uses that red in all of their shoe collection. So unhappy with the decision, Louboutin appeals to the Second Court of Appeals. The Second Court of Appeals reversed the lower court's decision because, number one, there was a misinterpretation of a previous case that took place in 1995 called Qualtex Co. v. Johnson Product. And in this case, a precedent was set that a single color can be trademarked so long as it passes as aesthetically functional doctrine, which prevents functional attributes of a design to be trademarked as it would prevent competition from surviving. So to boil that down, what we're talking about is function versus aesthetic, right? And so if something's functional, like the heel of a shoe is functional, you can't trademark the heel of the shoe because then no company could make a shoe with a heel. And so the lower court thought that this color was just as functional. It's a color. It's a function of the shoe. So therefore, it cannot be trademarked. But the Second Court of Appeals said that the lower court misinterpreted that case that set that doctrine. It's called the aesthetically functional doctrine, meaning that if something provides aesthetic function, so more than just function, but it's becomes the brand of it, then it can be used to trademark. A product. And so in this case, the court believed that that color was more than just function, but it was aesthetic function, and it passed the doctrine set in Qualtex Co. v. Johnson product. The ramification of creating and trying to trademark a functional piece of a product is that it eliminates all competition. And so that's why they prevent that. But again, in this case, they saw it as aesthetic function and therefore would not prevent competition from prevailing. Second, the red liqueur souls did have secondary meaning. And so secondary meaning essentially requires a company to prove the meaning of a particular product to the public is the producer. So a product isn't just a shoe, it's Loubuiton shoe. And with that carries great significance and meaning. So I can't trademark a shoe, but I can trademark the Loubuiton shoe. In doing so, it creates secondary meaning that goes beyond a product but carries weight of the producer within the product. This is similar to, I can't trademark a hamburger, but I can trademark a Big Mac because a Big Mac has secondary meaning to a consumer. It's a McDonald's Big Mac. It's the Thousand Island sauce with sesame seed bun. That has meaning and has a secondary meaning, and so therefore can be trademarked. So what the application of this, of the Second Court of Appeals findings, is that a red liqueured sole in contrast with the shoe was enough to be trademarked. So that sole that Loubuiton created was enough to be trademarked because it had a secondary meaning and it was aesthetic, not functional. So it wasn't preventing competition from stepping in and making a shoe and competing with Loubuiton. But the trademark that was established was a red liqueured sole in contrast with the entire shoe. And Yves Saint Laurent did not violate that trademark as their shoes were all red, not a contrasting red. So if we remember from the beginning, the trademark allows for the red to contrast with the black. On the right side of the screen, you can see Yves Saint Laurent, and they're doing an all red shoe. Well, it's the same red that gives the ability to Loubuiton to create secondary meaning and to trademark it. It's only in contrast with the rest of the shoe. So with that said, Yves Saint Laurent did not violate the trademark as their shoes were all red, not a contrasting red. This case was meaningful to the fashion industry because it allowed color to be trademarked. It allowed signature colors that showcased brand and reputation to be protected by the company and not infringed upon other companies to carry on that brand, to pretend that they are that brand. And that would have damaging effects to the competition and the brand's establishment. And so in doing so, fashion houses are now protected to allow them to use their creative instincts and creative license, but then protect those designs to ensure that they are used by the original brand. So that's Christian Louboutin v. Yves Saint Laurent, centered on trademark infringement, secondary meaning, and the aesthetic doctrine. Thank you.